We often believe true evil reveals itself with a roar, a fiery, monstrous rage. But what if it whispers? What if the most destructive force isn't a thunderclap, but a sneer? In a perfect garden, one rule stood between immortality and ruin. But what made humanity risk everything for a single bite? This is the story of Eden's prohibited tree, the temptation that changed everything. A ripple, not a tremor. A shadow that glides, not crawls. It approaches not with fangs bared, but with a smile. A knowing, ancient smile that promises everything and nothing. And what it revealed next will shock you to your core. Did God really say? The words hang, suspended, not a question, but a challenge, a venomous insinuation. It's not about truth, it's about power. The serpent, with a flick of its tongue, unravels the absolute. It dismisses the divine command, not with brute force, but with casual contempt. A calculated, surgical strike against the very foundation of trust. If you stay until the end, you will discover the ancient, forgotten truth behind this seemingly simple deception, and why it still controls us today. Eva, caught in the serpent's hypnotic gaze, feels a tremor, not of fear, but of intrigue. How could something so vital be so easily undermined? The serpent's sneer is a prelude, a silent promise that this perfect world is about to shatter, not with a bang, but with a whisper that redefines everything. No, it did not shatter yet. Not then. Before the whisper, before the shadow, there was Eden, a masterpiece, a symphony of life orchestrated by the divine architect himself. This wasn't just a garden, it was the very heartbeat of creation, a place so utterly perfect, it became the standard by which all beauty would forever be measured. Imagine a land where every sunrise painted the sky with hues never seen since, where the air hummed with a purity that cleansed the soul, and every leaf, every petal, every drop of dew was a testament to unblemished perfection. Here the fruit hung heavy, ripe and sweet, not as a reward for toil, but as a boundless gift. Rivers of pure water carved paths through emerald landscapes, their currents whispering tales of eternal spring. Animals, free from fear, moved with a gentle grace, their natural instincts guided by an unseen hand of peace. This was the genesis of our Asterisk story, the blueprint of what perfection truly meant. This was the pinnacle of creation, a haven designed for pure, unadulterated joy, a place where every breath was a celebration, every moment a testament to divine love. It was a world without disease, without decay, without conflict, a sanctuary where the very essence of life thrived, abundant and eternal, a place that transcended mere beauty, echoing a profound order and balance. It makes us wonder, doesn't it? How could such a canvas of perfection ever be stained? But Eden, in all its splendor, awaited its crown jewel. A silent stage, poised for the grandest entrance. And then, it happened. From the dust of that pristine earth, a form began to coalesce, not born of water, nor light, but sculpted by the very hands of the divine. A slow, meticulous unfolding, each particle forming sinew, bone, and flesh. Imagine the ultimate artist, working not with chisel and stone, but with the raw elemental fabric of existence. The form lay inert, breathtaking in its potential, yet empty, a vessel. Then, the breath, not a whisper, but a divine exhalation, a current of pure, unadulterated life, flowing directly from the Creator's essence into that sculpted form. A jolt, a spark, a flash, and suddenly, eyes fluttered open. The first human, Adam, drew his first breath, not of air, but of Asterisk, life itself. Asterisk, a soul ignited, a consciousness awakened. He was placed not as a visitor, but as the garden's steward, its protector, its living connection to the divine. His purpose was woven into the very fabric of Eden. This was not merely creation, it was Genesis, the beginning of humanity, imbued with divine breath, charged with a sacred trust. He was made in the image of God, a living reflection of infinite possibility. But what exactly did that mean for him? And what was his first command? A question arises. How did this perfect being, given such a sacred trust, become vulnerable to the insidious whispers of deceit? The air shifted, the light intensified, not with harshness, but with an overwhelming presence. While you watch this, remember, every single instruction we receive today, every law, every ethical dilemma, traces its lineage back to this singular moment. The stakes were unimaginable. Adam, still reeling from the shock of existence, stood before his maker. There was no ambiguity, no room for misinterpretation. The divine voice, resonating through every fiber of Eden, delivered the most crucial directive, a command that would echo through millennia. From every tree of the garden you may freely eat, the voice proclaimed, a bounty, an endless feast, abundance beyond measure. Eden was his, but then, the pause, a pregnant silence, heavier than the weight of all creation. The camera zooms in, slowly, almost imperceptibly, on Adam's face, his eyes, now wide with comprehension, fixated on one specific point, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. In a few months, this single prohibition will change everything. Most people will only discover its full implications when it's far too late. But from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat from it you will surely die. Not a suggestion, not a warning, a sacred inviolable command, a deadline, a countdown, the ultimate consequence, delivered with absolute gravity. Life, limitless and eternal, hung in the balance. All of Eden, all of existence, hinged on this one simple rule. What could possibly compel anyone to transgress such an absolute decree? This is not just a story of disobedience, it's a profound exploration of free will and the terrifying cost of choice. Adam stood alone, a vast, breathtaking world, yet a profound solitude. Our very nature craves connection, a mirror to our soul, a hand to hold through the cosmic journey. This isn't merely a biological imperative, it's woven into the fabric of our being, a reflection of the divine desire for relationship. This deep yearning for companionship is what drives so many of our great cultural achievements, from epic poems to monumental architectures, all built for and with others. The Creator, understanding this intrinsic need, watched. There was a purpose in Adam's solitary existence, a necessary void to be filled. A deep sleep descended, not of weariness but of sacred anticipation. The world paused, the vibrant colors of Eden softened, the birdsong hushed, as a profound transformation began, unseen yet undeniably felt, from Adam's very essence. From bone of his bone and flesh of his flesh, she emerged, not as a lesser being, but as a perfect complement, an equal. When Adam awoke, his eyes met hers, a recognition deeper than words. A profound sense of completeness flooded his being. He wasn't merely observing, he was seeing for the first time. This at last is bone of my bones, and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. A declaration of unity, the birth of true companionship. This profound union, this sacred mirroring, was the crown jewel of creation. It spoke of shared purpose, mutual respect, and an unbreakable bond. But how would this perfect partnership fare against the whispers of a coming darkness, a darkness far older than Eden itself? Here, in this pristine garden, life unfolded with an unparalleled simplicity. No hidden motives, no masks, only raw, unblemished existence. Adam and Eve moved through Eden, not as subjects of a kingdom, but as its very heart. They walked, breathed, and were in a state of profound peace. Their bodies, exposed to the warm sun, the gentle breeze, were not objects of shame or desire, but natural extensions of their innocent souls. There was no thought of concealment, no glance of judgment. The concept of nakedness as we understand it, a vulnerability, a revelation, simply did not exist. It was a condition of being, as natural as the leaves on the trees, the rivers flowing, the sun rising. Their connection to each other and to their Creator was unmarred by self-consciousness. It was a perfect, unbroken harmony. This was innocence in its purest form, a radical transparency. They lived without the weight of expectation, without the burden of pretense. Every interaction, every moment, was authentic. Their gaze was clear, their hearts unburdened. They saw each other as God saw them, perfect, complete, utterly good. This state of grace, this profound lack of shame, defined their existence. It was a freedom we can barely grasp, a world where vulnerability was strength and openness was truth. But such perfection, such unblemished peace, often attracts the gaze of something far older, far darker, something that despises innocence, something that craves to corrupt, and it was already watching, waiting, biding its time. What would happen when this pure, unashamed world met the cold, calculating eyes of ancient Malice? This is where the true terror begins, not with a monster, but with a whisper, designed to shatter more than just a rule. It lurked, not in the open, not in the vibrant light of Eden, but in the deep shadows, amongst the gnarled roots and the whispering leaves. A creature of cunning, older than the garden itself. The serpent, not merely an animal, but a vessel for an intelligence far beyond anything Adam or Eve had ever encountered. It watched them, these perfect, unblemished beings, with eyes that held the weight of countless eons, eyes that held contempt for innocence. This was not a creature of instinct. This was a being of calculated malice. Its movements were fluid, almost hypnotic, a silent ripple through the undergrowth, a predator without hunger for flesh, but with an insatiable craving for ruin. Its target, not Adam, strong and grounded, but Eve, the one with an innate curiosity, a spirit perhaps more open to suggestion. The story takes a dark turn here, a subtle shift in the very fabric of Eden. It moved closer, a silent shadow, its scales shimmering with an unnatural sheen. It found Eve near the very tree they were forbidden to touch, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, a crucial detail, often overlooked. It didn't wait for her to approach. It sought her out. The air around them, moments before so serene, now crackled with an unseen tension, a subtle shift in the breeze, a sudden unexplained chill. Did God really say? The words, a mere whisper, slithered from the serpent's mouth, piercing the perfect silence. A question, so simple, so innocent. Yet, it was a question designed to unravel everything. A tiny crack in the dam of trust, a seed of doubt planted in the most fertile ground. But what no one knew was the true power behind those words, the ancient deceit waiting to explode. Did God really say, "You must not eat from any tree in the garden"? The serpent's voice wasn't harsh. It was smooth, seductive, a velvet dagger. It wasn't an accusation. It was an inquiry, a seemingly innocent clarification. But Eve's brow furrowed. The question hung in the air, distorting the very light of Eden around them. God's command, so clear, so absolute, suddenly felt blurry, contradicted. The world, once so defined, now swam in a sea of uncertainty. This was the moment, the point of no return, the ultimate betrayal, not of God, but of self. And in that moment, the fate of all humanity was sealed by a single, perfectly crafted lie. Remember what I said at the beginning. True evil often whispers. It doesn't roar. This wasn't a thunderclap, but a sneer, a calculated strike that planted the seed of doubt. The perfect garden, the divine command, the unbreakable trust, all shattered by a single seductive question. You now understand that the temptation wasn't just about a fruit, it was about the very nature of truth, authority, and free will. This ancient story isn't just history, it's the blueprint for every deception we face, every choice we make. It shows us that the most dangerous lies are the ones that sound like innocent questions, designed to unravel the absolute. The consequence of that single bite echoes through every generation, a constant reminder of the power of choice and the fragility of trust. The story of Eden's prohibited tree is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. In our next episode, we'll dive into the shocking truth behind the Tower of Babel, humanity's ultimate act of defiance, and how it shaped